How kings actually kept their thrones. A king sits on a throne of carved wood and gold. Courtiers bow. Nobles kneel. The crown gleams beneath candlelight. It looks secure. It is not. Behind every medieval throne was fear, not just of foreign enemies, but of brothers, allies, and even sons. Kings did not simply inherit power. They fought to keep it every day. Today we explore how medieval kings actually held on to power through spies, hostages, alliances, marriage, and the constant threat of rebellion. Because in the Middle Ages, a crown was never safe. Section 1. A crown surrounded by enemies. A medieval king ruled in name. In reality, power was shared with nobles who controlled land, armies, and wealth. These nobles were not passive subjects. They were potential rivals. A king could not watch them all, yet he had to know everything. A whispered alliance, a secret meeting, a delayed tax payment. Each could signal rebellion. This was the first truth of kingship. You did not rule by trust, you ruled by awareness. Section 2. The world of spies. Kings relied on information, and information required spies. Messengers, clerks, merchants, and even servants could act as informants. Letters were intercepted, conversations were reported, movements were tracked. A noble who believed himself secure might already be exposed. Spying was not an exception, it was routine. Royal courts became networks of observation where loyalty was measured not just by words, but by what others reported in private. A king who lacked intelligence did not remain king for long. Section 3. Hostages and control. Trust alone was never enough. Kings needed guarantees. One of the most effective tools was hostage-taking. A powerful noble might swear loyalty, but his son might live at the royal court. Treated well, educated, protected, and controlled. If the noble rebelled, the consequences would fall on someone he valued most. This system was not seen as cruelty. It was stability. Hostages created a bond between ruler and subject that words alone could not enforce. It turned loyalty into something personal and immediate. Section 4. Noble alliances. Kings could not rule alone. They needed the support of the most powerful families in their realm. This meant alliances. A king rewarded loyalty with land, titles, and influence. In return, he gained military support and political backing. But alliances were fragile. A noble who gained too much power became dangerous. A noble who gained too little became resentful. The king walked a narrow path. Reward enough to secure loyalty, never enough to invite challenge. Every alliance was a negotiation that never truly ended. Section 5. Marriage as strategy. Marriage was one of the most powerful tools a king possessed. A royal marriage could secure peace, unite territories, or prevent war before it began. A daughter might be married to a rival lord. A son might marry into a powerful family. These were not personal decisions. They were political moves. Marriage created obligations. It tied families together. It made rebellion more complicated. To rise against the king might mean rising against your own relatives. Blood became a tool of control. Section 6. Constant threat of rebellion. Despite all of this, rebellion was inevitable. Nobles tested kings. Weak rulers invited challenge. Even strong rulers faced betrayal. Rebellions could begin quietly, a refusal to pay taxes, a delay in military support, a gathering of allies. Then suddenly, open war. Kings had to respond quickly, too harsh, and they risked wider revolt, too lenient, and they encouraged further rebellion. Punishment was carefully chosen. Some rebels were executed. Others were stripped of land. Some were forgiven to preserve stability. Every decision sent a message, and every message shaped the next rebellion. Section 7. Fear, loyalty, and survival. A successful king balanced fear and loyalty. Too much fear created hatred. Too much trust created vulnerability. Spies revealed threats. Hostages enforced obedience. Alliances built strength. Marriage secured stability. Rebellions tested everything. This was not a system of peace. It was a system of constant management. Power was not held once. It was maintained every day. Conclusion: medieval kings did not sit securely on their thrones. They defended them through vigilance, strategy, and sometimes ruthless decisions. Their rule depended on people who could betray them at any moment. To understand medieval kingship is to understand uncertainty. If you enjoy exploring how power really worked in the Middle Ages, like this video and subscribe to TorchLit History. And tell me in the comments, which method do you think was most effective? Fear, alliances, or something else entirely? Because history is not just about who wore the crown. It is about how they managed to keep it.